Not all zones in classic WoW are created equal. As anyone who has played can tell you, some regions of the game are utter masterpieces, from their story and lore to their geography and structure. On the other hand, a few zones are shunned or seen as inadequate for one reason or another, usually a lack of content or feelings of incompleteness. Dustwallow Marsh, located in eastern Kalimdor, is one such zone, or used to be one, depending on your perspective. Sure, it has a few good quests in Classic and there are bits of solid lore, but it's usually not a big staple area for players to visit on their leveling journey. For over 3 years after the launch of Vanilla WoW, it was seen as a bit of a lonely backwater, with only the island city of Theramore providing a draw for Alliance players. In a surprising move though, patch 2.3 of the Burning Crusade went back to the old world and changed the zone dramatically, doubling the amount of content and adding some new locations, all while maintaining the core dreary vibe of the original. Today, I want to go over what made this update so impactful, and in my opinion, what makes it a perfect blueprint for Blizzard to refer to in a future Classic Plus version of the game. As always, thank you for the fun comments and support, and with all that being said, let's get right into it. Back in late 2007, the player base was moving through Outland, raiding the Black Temple, and waiting to see what awaited them in the next patch, the Gods of Zul'Aman, a jungle troll city in Quel'Thalas, along with some quality of life updates, were going to be the big attractions for the next few months, but something else was added that I don't think anybody could have seen coming, a giant update to Dustwallow Marsh. Here's what was included in the official patch notes. Dustwallow Marsh has seen many improvements with the addition of over 50 new quests and a new neutral goblin town called Mudsprocket located in the southern part of the zone. There was also a small quest hub featuring a crashed goblin zeppelin to the east of Tabitha's hut. I mean, talk about coming out of left field. Sure, there had been some minor updates to the vanilla game world at the start of TBC, mostly new flight paths and graveyards, but this is much more substantial, not to mention it's in an area not even featured in the expansion. It's not known why they decided to roll out this update along with Zul'Aman, but it's possible this had been in the works for some time, and they finally had the package ready to go. This update gave players leveling up alts a new experience, a combed over, sparse zone now with dozens of new adventures, and a new flight path as well. I want to cover some of the major additions to the world, then we can summarize the new quest additions and why I think this investment really paid off. Let's begin with the map of Dustwallow. Here's the original vanilla map, and here it is after the update. A few new trails, a few new points of interest, but the vast majority of the land is still the same. It still retains the same DNA. The new areas, such as the Grim Totem villages, the goblin town of Mudsprocket, and the Zeppelin crash among others, fill in the vast wilderness of the zone without it feeling too cramped. The oppressive feeling of the swamp and the confusing mires still remain intact, despite the small bit of real estate required to make these new locations happen. I also think that Mudsprocket as a neutral hub in the southwest was a good decision, and it makes travel around the zone a bit more equitable to Alliance players to avoid such a strenuous back and forth journey. New areas go hand in hand with new quests, but it's important to note that many of the new quests just build on top of the original areas, providing layers of nuance in a zone where spies and betrayals are all too common. For the Alliance, players were given several new quest lines that, if introduced from the start, would have been some of the most memorable in all of vanilla WoW. Unmasking the Theramore deserters, taking down a kraken of the Great Sea, and learning about the Defias divers off the coast are all incredible additions. To the north, Witch Hill finally has a story behind it, and the quest to uncover the demon haunting it finally gives its name meaning. I especially like the new ghost lights and undead prowling the area. It's a pivot that fits well with the established lore and breaks up the monotony of the swamp a bit. There's more to do at the North Point Tower, and Nat Pagle now has his own fishing dock, which is a nice touch. The Horde didn't receive as many new quests at Brackenwall Village, but definitely enough to address the new threats in the area like the Grim Totem. Tabitha now has some apprentices at her house in the marsh, and the mystery of the Shady Rest Inn can now finally be solved. Mudsprocket also functions as a neat quest hub that brings some life into the southwest, and the storyline with the Stonemaul Ogres and the Black Dragonflight is a great final showdown around level 40. There's a common theme among many of these new quests. Pretty much everything here provides seamless additions to the original Dustwallow Marsh without sticking out like a sore thumb. Patching up incomplete stories and reducing dead space in the corners of the zone seem to have been priorities, and I think the new content blends really well into the old. Growing up playing on a Wrath of the Lich King private server, I was absolutely shocked to learn this wasn't the zone millions of players had first experienced. In my opinion, this update significantly improved the leveling experience and enjoyment I had while questing here just a few days ago. It feels like a complete adventure now, what Blizzard would have wanted to include in vanilla if they just had a little more time. Which brings me to the crux of today's video. From my perspective, and that of many other players, this is exactly the approach that would align well with expectations for Classic Plus. Nobody can quite agree on what Classic Plus is right now, but finishing sparse and unfinished zones is one of those pieces that most players could probably get behind. Looking for places where quest lines mysteriously end, regions of certain maps that could serve a hidden purpose in the future, these are the things that could expand the identity of vanilla WoW without overwriting it. Updated Dustwallow Marsh could be dropped right into Classic Plus and it would be amazing. A mid-tier zone upgraded to a place where players could actually enjoy questing for a few levels. This process could be repeated in a couple other zones to varying degrees, and along with smaller changes here and there, the questing experience across Azeroth could be tuned to perfection. It's strange that Dustwallow of all places ended up being such an excellent example of this design philosophy, but hey, it's about time it got some recognition. Wherever you stand on Classic Plus or WoW after vanilla, it's hard to deny this out-of-the-blue massive update was a great improvement to the quality of the zone, even if it did come out a little too late. As I've said before, not every spot in Classic Plus needs to be some never-before-seen zone. Sometimes all it might need is a few tweaks here and there to bring the player engagement and game design to a whole new level. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about Dustwallow Marsh and Classic Plus down in the comments, and until next time, may the Force be with you.